So I don't want to fully steal credit for this idea, but Gray, who is our new social media manager at the World of DVC or Keyholder Vacations, whatever you want to call us these days, he's been doing an amazing series over on the DVC Rental Store channel called What's Brewing with Gray. And something that he did to us that just was like, wow, like that's doing your research as like an interviewer, was that he combed through the internet archives and just found some random post or photo of us. They do this on Hot Ones all the time as well. So I said, why not do that this week to one of us? And I found this gem on the internet. And it's equally comical for multiple reasons, because we were just talking before we started filming that Derek didn't, or Derek's son, I think you said, didn't remember what Derek looked like without a beard. So first and foremost, here we have Derek without a beard. But Derek, will you just tell us a little bit about this lovely photo here?
So, and I think hopefully the caption is still there, because I think the caption makes the photo even funnier. But yes, it's years and years and years ago. My wife and I used to live, again, right outside Chicago in Northwest Indiana. I was working direct for Disney, and I was on the cruise team. We had just come back from like a 2-week European cruise, talking to folks about Disney Vacation Club. We went to go pick up our kids back in Northwest Indiana. One of our good friends there in Munster, Indiana, had a birthday party for their son at the time. This party in said backyard involved these big giant orb balls that you would, climb into, and you'd run and smash into each other and smash into other children. And I couldn't obviously resist being able to do that. It was very fun. I can't believe you found that. Did it come with the caption too, Paul?
Yeah. The caption's absolutely amazing. So it says, FYI, I'm now available to rent for your next birthday party. Plus, I can also talk about Disney Vacation Club. Kids love that.
I thought it was a sequel to James and the Giant Peach, Derek and the Giant Blueberry.
That's the frightening thing, is I don't fit any of those clothes anymore at all.
Hey everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of the DVC Show. I'm your host, Paul Krieger, joined as always by my lovely wife, Amy Krieger.
Hello.
We've got John Sakari, Big Fat Panda, with us.
Welcome home, everyone.
The one, the only Jeff Haslam.
Hey everybody. I just sent in our group chat the best beer pong thing that goes along with that photo of Derek. You'll see when we're done.
I'm looking forward to that. And of course, the one, the only senior sales associate for the DVC Resale Market, and Derek DeBurr.
Hey now, everybody. Happy Monday. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday it is, for sure.
That was
an amazing intro. I'm going to have to keep that up. Thank you again to Gray for that wonderful idea to kind of comb through the internet archives there. We'll keep it up.
I would also like to dig up a photo of you that you don't know until you see it.
Hey, you can do it.
And have you explain it.
You're going to have to at least send me the photo like a second before the show so I can put it on the show. Or maybe you can show it to me. You can send it to everyone else, and then you show it to me live on air, but then I do it in post and I put it on the screen. That'll probably be the best option.
I love everything about this.
I love it too, because we have the best audience in the whole entire world, that I feel like none of those things are going to happen. People are going to do their own research, and you'll see it on DVC Fan within like 12 hours. So yeah.
Who made the A-Team photo of us? That was hysterical.
That was Jeff.
I thought that was a fan. That was Jeff. Okay.
No, that was me.
Were you the
And nobody's talked about the action figures I made for all of us.
Oh, don't think that's not coming up in the next show. What do you think it is? Amateur hour here? No. These intros write themselves.
I'll find a picture of myself and I'll send it to Amy and Paul. And I was like, oh, look how cute I was back in the day. And it's like on Patreon in 13 seconds. And Amy just laughing hysterically.
You share and it's free game.
I mean, yeah, the internet's an amazing thing. You find wonderful things out there. So, well, welcome everyone. This is the most enjoyable aspect of this week's show. I feel most of you is going to tune out after this because we're actually talking some technical stuff here with Disney Vacation Club. I wanted to kind of review right of first refusal, and average DVC resale prices. Now that we're about a third of the way through 2025, we've seen a lot of things change here and a lot of things not change so much. We've seen a lot more right of first refusal activity this year with the DVC resale market. But we've also kind of seen prices just kind of, they don't know which direction they want to go. They're kind of flatlining. A lot of people, I think, are questioning things related to their finances maybe this coming year. So we thought we'd dig into some of those topics on this week's episode. So you're going to be hearing a lot more from Mr. Big Ball himself, Derek Moore.
Can we
Nope.
listen to that?
No, we're
in
not.
Your head?
Nope.
Nope.
No, we're not. But hey, if you love him and you love all of our DVC fan content, please show some love for our sponsors over at the World of DVC. DVC Resale Market, if you're looking to buy or sell a Disney, I can't even do it, a Disney Vacation Club contract from Mr. Big Ball, or from any of the amazing agents over at the DVC Resale Market, they'll be able to assist. Monera Financial, where they can help in financing that DVC Resale Market purchase, and the DVC Rental Store, where you can try before you buy, rent some points, or rent out your own points. And before we move on from that, it's scary when Derek texts you something about technology that you've completely forgotten about. But several weeks ago, Derek actually mentioned to me that there have been some updates to the DVC Resale Market app. Have there not?
Yes, thank you, Paul. Perfect. Yeah, definitely. I wanted to be able to mention it because if you don't have the updated DVC Resale Market app, please go to dvcresalemarket.com. Down there on the bottom, you're able to click a link. You're able to download it to your iPhone. You could download it to your Android phone. But most importantly, because the folks had it before, it was, maybe glitchy from time to time. So we have gotten that problem fixed. So over the last few weeks, it's been absolutely phenomenal. So make sure you do it because you can, of course, set your own filters, get notified. Because again, we can get 50 to 75 to 100 listings every single week. You'll get notified within seconds with a listing if it's on the site of it being listed, set to the parameters that you want. So if you're like, listen, I only want to know if there's a boardwalk contract of under 100 points with a December use year, boom. You don't have to check the site every day. You're more than welcome to check the site every day. And you can come say hi to me on chat or set your phone and it will go off instantly. So set it for your parameters. And then whether you bought or whether you sell, you can actually build your own account and you could track the progress, right? So you can track the progress of your contract right there on the phone app. So you know, okay, am I still in ROFR? It's going to say, have I passed ROFR? What stage am I on now? So yeah, dvcresalemarket.com. We're so happy that the phone app is back and it's working, and so many folks are happy too. Their wallets are probably not so happy, which I've already heard, because it's so easy to get notified and find what you're looking for. But thank you for allowing me to do that, Paul. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and I want to give a big shout out to Ben, who actually works on our tech team here at the World of DVC. Ben has been instrumental in getting this thing up and running again, and I've had a lot of great conversations about him because something that we also acknowledged with this app was how do we make it something that's not just browsing those DVC resale contracts, but how do we make it something that is also that you want to use every day, or at least kind of track your Disney Vacation Club ownership a little bit better. And I think that's where this really excels, is that you have the ability to enter your contract information, and it's going to give you information related to the current value of that contract, but it's also going to set up alerts for you related to your banking deadline. So these are some huge things that I know, people can forget about. I get the calls every day at DVC Rental Store where I forgot my banking deadline, my points are expiring. So this is also just phase one. I have heard a lot of things that are going to potentially be coming to this app. So, and like I said, I will admit in front of everyone that I was one of the people that actually forgot the app existed because, as Derek said, it was a little bit glitchy for a while, but it has gotten a lot of TLC. So please head over, App Store, Android Store, Jitterbug Store, maybe, I don't know. But, all of those places, you can download your DVC Resale Market app and be able to experience it. So
all of that is great, but can we all just be honest with each other and admit that Derek has no idea how to operate it?
That's not true. That's not true. That's not true.
I've seen you with technology, my friend.
If anything can sell this app, it's literally that, and that should be its tagline. It's so simple, even Derek can use it. That's what it needs to be.
I'm just loving you, dude.
When Derek mentioned it, I was shocked enough to just hear about, how many leads you guys get through this app. I was blown away. I typically am one that would go on and, get on Safari, or if I'm on my computer, get on Google Chrome and actually just go to the website.
Paul.
That's the second show in a row that's been brought up.
I'm just
All right,
kidding.
moving on.
Okay, wait. Can I say one more thing?
No.
When I posted your happy birthday in the DVC fan group, someone said, I said happy 38th to Paul. Someone said, I thought he was a lot older based on how you guys talk about getting old.
That is also why I shaved the beard off, if we're going back to our shaving.
We are 38 going on 90.
Basically, yeah. No.
Just in how early we like to go to bed.
Yeah, Jeff calls us grandparents all the time. So.
Don't even.
Man, I'm the only grandparent in the group, and I still stay up till midnight like a real man.
Who stays up till midnight?
Midnight.
Everybody tonight.
No, Panda's up with you. He's sending us group chat messages at 2 a.m. most days.
Yeah.
It's Panda. You're like a creature. Are pandas nocturnal? Man, I've really taken the rails off of this show, haven't I? Nothing, Panda? No. Okay.
I really don't know. I know I am. Like I'm up late. 2 a.m. is about the sleep time for me.
Just to fully derail us, I've been served ads for, I think it's the San Diego Zoo, and they recently came out with a new panda line of products that looks absolutely amazing. I'm gonna have to send those to you. Not sponsored, but hey, San Diego Zoo, if you need a sponsor, we're here for you.
If you
Between them,
haven't been,
Swig
you
and
should go.
Roosevelt's and the pizza, we should be set.
I wish.
And
No
Swig.
one listens. And Swig, yeah. We just keep throwing names out there. Someday, someone will be like, "Oh, I don't know." But hey, we are talking DVC resale this week, and one of the main things that kind of brought this topic up, as I mentioned before, is kind of the trends that we've been seeing the first part of the year with right of first refusal, and I think that's also been driving a lot of the DVC resale market. And I asked this question myself to Derek when it actually started happening, but the oddest part of right of first refusal this year, and for those of you unfamiliar with that process, that is if you are buying a DVC resale contract, Disney does have the ability or the right of first refusal to essentially buy that contract back for the exact contract price that you agree to. And so they have a period of time in which they can make that decision. They then either decide to, yes, elect their right of first refusal and buy that contract back. If that happens to you as a buyer, you just get the luck of moving on and finding another amazing DVC resale contract to purchase. If they waive the right, though, hey, you're moving forward and you're going to get to actually purchase that contract. In prior years, this has really been a much bigger conversation. I would think month after month, we had anywhere from 40, 50, 60 buybacks, and those were crazy numbers. Disney, over the course of the past 3 years, has been a lot less. They've been kind of not been using this that much, but I would say 2025 is the highest activity we've seen with right of first refusal in the past few years. And the resorts that they're choosing to buy back is just as head scratching. And the big two are Grand Floridian and Grand Californian, which are both sold out properties that you would kind of say, why do they need points back here? And that's the exact question that I posed to Derek. And Derek, you had a great answer to it.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, Paul's 100% correct, because now it's such a crazy time, because we have people that a couple of years ago, I mean, some buyback percentages for certain resorts could be 20%, even 30%. I mean, sometimes Old Key West was hitting like the high 30%, low 40%. They were buying contracts back. Like Paul said, when we started to see this trend amongst the Grands, the Grand Californian and the Grand Floridian, we were trying to figure out why. And the first thing that came to my mind, and it seems to be, I can't imagine that it's not the case. So, I mean, Jeff will probably disagree with me. But what I think What I think they're doing is, of course, people that tour, say at Walt Disney World, where they want to take them to tour, obviously, is the new Mecca, right? It's now the new crown. It's, the Polynesian. So you're there. So that's what they show you. That's what they're going to lead with. Like, hey, you could own the Polynesian, blah, blah, blah. But you have a lot of people that know that the Grand Floridian is right next door. So what do they do with those folks that say, the Poly's great, but but the Grand Floridian's a Disney vacation club. So I want that one to be my home. I mean, the Polynesian's nice, and I'll try to get in there. But I hear the Grand is, smaller, so maybe I need to own points. So I want to buy the Grand. Flip to the West Coast, I think it's the exact same thing. I think people that tour the Disneyland Tower look at it. That's where they obviously take people to tour. But they know, as they're learning about membership, is, hey, you can also use your points and stay at, the Grand Californian right over here. Then the question comes up, cool, can I buy that one instead? Because I like that one better. So that's what I want to buy. No Disney Vacation Club guide wants to tell them, no, I'm sorry, you can't do that. So either you have to buy this or you're going to buy nothing. I think they're buying these back because they're going to have people that want not the Polynesian, that don't want the Disneyland Tower, but they want the resorts that are basically adjacent to them. So I think that's what they're doing, is buying back, getting that inventory to fulfill the need. Because again, if you buy these things directly from Disney on a sold out property, you're not going to get a discount. So Paul can have his average price, or whatever the price is now for the Grand Floridian and the Grand Cal direct from Disney. I asked him to have these numbers up, because or else I have to put on my glasses and then squint near the computer. But there's no discounts. There's no bells and whistles. There's no magical beginnings or, fairy tale endings, promotions, or anything else with these. When you buy those sold out resorts like the Grand Floridian or the Grand Californian, you're going to pay full price. So they know.
Yeah, and those prices are absolutely bonkers. And this just I mean, a lot of people are probably like, can Disney really make that much money off of these buybacks? And the answer to that question is yes. So Grand Floridian, for example, right now, when it comes to the average DVC resale contract price, so just a blended average of all of the contracts that they sell in a given month, in March of 2025, that was $162 per point. Currently, Grand Floridian is selling without any incentives at $265 per point direct. That's an $103 difference. And that is just bonkers to really think about. I love Grand Floridian, and I agree with you, Derek, that if I was at the Polynesian, I would maybe say, oh, what about that resort across the way? But if you then tell me it's $100 per point more than what I'm probably about to spend, obviously probably not that much of a difference, because we are talking about direct pricing, so it is a little bit higher for what they're selling directly right now. But still, the fact that you would probably, even if it's $50 more per point, I'm not sure that I'm that swayed based off of those two properties that are right next to each other. So you got to really love the Grand Floridian. But people do. I mean, it definitely was a decision for us when we first bought. It was like Grand Floridian. I
do have a question for Derek. Mm-hmm. Is it usually these buybacks, are they priced really good? Like, have you told someone, listen, this looks so good, this price, you're better off paying $2 more per point because there's less of a chance of ROFRing?
Yeah. Okay. Because Paul does, the stats and compiles them. So we know every single month when Paul puts out that ROFR report, which is very popular, what it shows you is, hey, this is the highest price that the Grand Floridian was bought back. And you'll see it for each and every month over the last 12 months. Okay. So it'll help give you an idea. At the end of the day, people still want a great deal, right? They still want a great deal. I had someone just a couple days ago, I'm not sure when this show is going to air, they were able to snag a Grand Californian contract for $205 per point.
Oh my God.
Oh my gosh.
I told them when they put the offer in and we chatted on the phone, I'm like, listen, we will present it, but odds are it's probably not likely that maybe the seller's going to accept. Maybe it was like $15 less than what they had listed. It wasn't a lot of points. It was kind of stripped, whatnot. But the seller agreed. And I just wanted him to know. I said, listen, I'm just making sure that I will cover this with as much pixie dust as I possibly can. But this listing for $205 a point will be covered in the biggest red flag and alarms when it goes through the ROFR monster. They're going to see it. So don't be surprised if they buy it back. And he goes, you know what? It's worth a shot. I'd be crazy if I didn't try it. So why not try it? And that's what a lot of people will have, that mentality, because again, you got to know, if Disney does buy it back, you don't lose any money, right? You don't lose it. It's not like, oh man, I rolled the dice and I lost my $2,000 that I put into escrow. You don't lose anything.
Right.
You just move it over to a different listing. So it's a fine line that we like to provide all the stats and say, listen, this is the highest that they bought back. So, but you're never 100% safe, because I've told people before, and Paul and I laughed about this, where I'd be like, listen, they haven't bought back a Grand Cal in like, I can't even remember when.
Since ever.
Next thing you know, I get notified, hey, Disney bought back a Grand Cal. So we have the stats that we can go by.
Okay.
People want to try to get the best deal that they possibly can. So, yeah.
Thank you. That answered it exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we think? I have a question too. Do we think that? I get the Grand Floridian part, because it's right there next to, you got Wilderness Lodge, you got Bay Lake Tower, Derek's favorite, you got Polynesian, you got all these things that I like to brag a little bit, because I've stayed at the the Grand Floridian, and I stayed with my old Key West points that cost me $89. So, there is something to be said for buying where you want to stay, but I got to steal. But at Grand Californian, it's different, because you have the Disneyland Hotel that they're trying to push, but then you've got this transient tax. And this is something I'm dealing with personally, because we're going in July or June, whenever we're going. And I looked at just this week, I'm like, man, this stay is going to cost me like $500 because of the transient tax that's attached to that, where Grand Cal has that baked into their dues, which there's arguments either way, but the fact of the matter is you don't think about it because it's already done. So do you think that's weighing into people holding off and trying to get it at Grand Cal?
Yeah, and before Derek kind of answers that question, just to review what the transient tax is, for those of you that have never gone out to California or gone to Alani, both have a similar situation going on, which is that there is basically a per point or per night tax that is put onto your bill. This happens at Disneyland Hotel specifically, so you will have a bill. Panda, you've mentioned multiple times on this show before how magical it is at the end of your stay to get a bill for $0. If you go to Disneyland Hotel, you don't get a bill for $0. As Jeff said, he's going to stay there 3-4 nights, I think it is, and still end up paying $500 in transient taxes, even though he is using his points. The same can be said for Alani. It is not as bad as it is at Disneyland Hotel at Alani. But Grand Californian, when it actually came online as a Disney Vacation Club property, it is in a league of its own. Any future Disney Vacation Club properties over there are going to have these transient taxes. It's just I think a process of what the world in Anaheim looks like these days. But Grand Californian basically baked that into their annual dues, which I think was ingenious, whoever came up with that idea, because it does make it feel different, because again, you go back to
they don't even feel, the dues do not feel high as an owner of Grand Cal, because it's such a small resort as well. It's actually one of the lower annual dues that we have, even with those transient taxes built in. And the thing about Disneyland Hotel is that you pay that transient tax as a guest, regardless if you're using Old Key West points,
renting,
or if you're renting points from a member, regardless, if you are staying on points, you pay those transient taxes on your folio at the end of that trip. With Grand Cal, the owners have already paid it in their dues. So whenever you stay there, regardless if you're using Old Key West points or Grand Cal points, you're going to check out with no bill. So that does feel a lot different. And that's why a lot of people are still in the camp of, I'd rather own Grand Cal than Disneyland Hotel.
And Derek, I'll let you answer Jeff's question. Yeah.
sorry, to be clear, this is Anaheim wide. So even though I'm using my points, I'm still paying that transient tax. You still have to pay a transient tax if you stay at the Stop and Rob across the street. It doesn't matter. The taxes are, it's kind of net zero.
Yeah.
No matter if you're staying off property or on, it just feels different with Disneyland because you've kind of already spent that money.
Yeah, and a lot of it surfaces from arrangements that Disneyland had with the city of Anaheim that dated back many, many years ago. There were many favorable tax breaks that Disneyland got for so many years. And actually around the time that Disneyland was actually proposing, not Disneyland Hotel, but a different 5-star property that they wanted to build that was going to be half hotel and half DVC as part of the downtown Disney area of Disneyland, they got immense pressure from the city of Anaheim because the city of Anaheim basically finally pushed back and said, we've given you too much. What does this give us? And I think it was actually a smart move by Disney at the time, to a degree, of basically saying, you know what, stop that. We're going to play by your rules. Because we need you to help grow. We need your approval to help make Disneyland Forward a thing. We are expecting a lot of news about Disneyland Forward, I think, here later this summer at the Destination D23 conference. I think we're going to hear a lot about what their plans are out there. They did recently just announce that they are shutting down Run Disney races in Disneyland after the 2026 marathon in January. They're going to stop that. No news on when it will continue afterwards. Have to imagine that that's probably being stopped because of construction.
Construction related, I agree.
Yeah, so, I think it was a smart decision, but these are the ancillary effects of that decision, which is that it is a hard thing to stomach. And, Derek, I'll let you finally answer Jeff's question, but I have to imagine as a sales agent, you have to disclose this at the time of selling that property, and that's probably causing them some issues with Disneyland Hotel.
Yeah, because I was trying to do, and I'm sure people watching could see me put my old man reading glasses on.
That's our favorite part of the show.
Yeah, everyone's favorite is looking at the dues, which again, you could see all the dues at dvcresalemarket.com, but you could see that the dues for the Grand Cal for 2025 were $8.80 a point. The dues for the Disneyland Hotel, $9.82 per point. So not only are the dues higher at the new Disneyland Hotel, but again, it's that kick in the teeth that you have to disclose it and say, because that's, like you said, just like Panda said, just like what I say every year for 20 years talking to people. Guys, the best part about it is you check out of your room bill, $0. Yeah, well, what about like the 12.5% tax that I pay every night when I pay $200 to stay at the All-Star or to stay at Pop Center? Guys, there's nothing. So you're checking out of a room at the Polynesian or Bay Lake Tower or the Grand Floridian or the Boardwalk that are like $700-800 a night rooms. You're not paying 12.5% tax every single night. You check out and your room bill is $0. That's what I hate hearing that story about Jeff. I would not want to sell the Disneyland Tower if I was a guide out there in California. And if you do your research, because that's how people find out to ask about other resorts, right? When you learn about DVC, if you go in blind and you're talking to a guide out in California, they're going to talk to you and say, yeah, here's the one resort that you can buy. Because you can buy Aulani, of course, but you could buy that till 2090. But if you're looking at the Disneyland Tower, it's like, hey, this is it. Oh yeah, and you could use your points to stay at the Grand Cal right over there. God forbid if someone brings it up and says, oh, the Grand Cal. Oh, okay. So do those owners have to pay that transient tax? It's like, wah, wah, cue this ad. You know what I mean? Then you're going off the rails into the weeds where a research guest can take it, because they know not only is it important that it's great because you don't have to pay that transient tax, but my God, everybody knows. Anybody that's got points know the hardest resort out of all the Disney Vacation Club resorts to get into is the Grand Californian. Yeah. So they can't sit and tell people and say, yeah, buy the Disneyland Tower. Yeah, we got the transient tax. But hey, at 7 months out, 6 months out, 5 months out, then you can use those same points to go stay at the Grand Cal. Like, that's like telling someone in Florida, yeah, buy the poly, but you'll love being able to go stay at the beach club during the fall and food and wine festival. Yeah. Just book it like 5 months out and you're totally fine. It's that, if you can be 100% transparent. I know if I was looking at a place in California to be able to look, it's a no-brainer that I would pay more to be able to get into if I love that style of the Grand Cal. So yeah, that tax just, it kills me because it takes all the fun out of owning DVC.
Yeah.
Well, and I mean, to be clear, like I just looked it up. It for the time that we're going, and we're going on a weekend, so it's extra expensive. But my per night for my deluxe studio is $74 a night.
Ouch.
So for 4 nights, we're about $300. That's still cheaper than most of the Stop and Robs across the street for 1 night. Definitely cheaper than 2. So in the long run, it is still a savings over time, but it does suck
but
that you don't get
that plus your annual dues plus your initial
Yeah.
cost.
Right.
It
is kind of a kick in the teeth.
Yeah, it significantly skews the numbers. But honestly, kudos at the end of the day to the buyer that you had, Derek, that had the 205. And I'll put it right out here on this show that if that passes ROFR at 205, send me an email. I'll buy you a beer on your next trip to Walt Disney World.
Oh, I thought it passed.
No.
I thought you said it passed.
No, we just
still
submitted
waiting.
it. We just submitted it, and he's a fan of the show. So that's how we connected with all this. So he's a fan of the show. So yes, I will keep you updated throughout his magical journey.
Please do. The last we track on the Reddit First
We
Refusal
just had
blog,
a Grand Cal taken back.
we track all of the Grand Cal pricing and everything, and we report on that blog every month the highest price that Disney is buying back at. And currently, Disney has been buying back Grand Cals as high as $224 per point. So, hey, if you get it at 205, that is money in the bank. That is a winner.
What is their direct price for Grand Cal? What are they selling it for?
3 something.
I know it's over 310, something like that.
Yeah, Grand Cal is probably, I think, the highest
It is
direct
definitely
price.
the
right
Oh yeah,
now.
it is. It is.
Over 3.
I
for
love
sure.
that we thought it was 310, 330.
Oh my gosh.
330 per point. If you
I'd
were
be
buying
shocked
direct.
if the 205 goes through.
Right. But look at, I mean, the savings alone. This is again where like I know, Derek, that you're right, and these are the conversations that are happening. But like when you compare the direct cost of Disneyland Hotel, which Disneyland Hotel is $245 per point right now, that doesn't include the incentives that they're probably offering. Let's say that brings it down to $225 per point.
Yeah.
If you're telling me that people are going from $225 per point and saying, "Oh yeah, I'll pay $330," like I would like your job or something.
Yeah.
I don't know, but like that is, you must really want that property,
Yeah.
or I've
Or
not
they
seen a
wanna be able-
spreadsheet where that actually makes sense. Maybe it does on paper.
I think the mindset would be, because if you buy Grand Cal resale, you can't use it at the Disneyland Tower. But then
Right.
again, why would you want to get robbed twice? Like, you're not going to go down the same alley and get mugged more than once. You're a huge transient tax. Why would you go pay it again?
Oh, I like that. Let me go back.
You
down there.
enjoyed it. Maybe you enjoyed it.
I'm going to write that down. Send it to Nick. I think we have a new company tagline. That's perfect.
Why can you be robbed once when you can be robbed twice? The other oddity when it comes to Reddit First Refusal in the early part of this year has been one that really doesn't make any sense other than the fact that they're about to have a small refurbishment go on. But it is actually the second most ROFR'd resort this year so far, and that is Animal Kingdom Lodge, which has had 15 buybacks on the year already. And that really kind of got people by surprise. I will say that there were some direct sales incentives early on in the year that maybe that was geared towards, maybe they oversold and they needed to buy some points back to make sense with that. The other thing that they could do is, they are doing the refurbishment. They need to maybe take some more points out of inventory so that they can do those refurbishments later this year. That could also be a reason for the buybacks. I like to go highly speculative, though. And I wrote an article about month ago or so that was speculating that what if Disney decided to take more of Jumbo House and make it Disney Vacation Club? So Jumbo House is actually one of the smallest.
It is.
DVC
It's actually
properties.
a smaller DVC unit than Beach Club.
Yeah.
If you separate it out by itself.
Yeah, it is. It is kind of put together with Kidani, so you do share, 7 to 11 month home resort booking privileges with Kidani. But the pool of Jumbo House owners is very small, and the big thing that I went back and kind of discovered with this is you have so many people that complain about the lack of availability with the value studios. You have so many people that complain about the lack of availability with the club level at Jumbo House. So what if you could take more of the rooms there, almost like what they did with Big Pine Key at Grand Floridian, and take those and make more Disney Vacation Club? We've seen them even apply this to the cabins at Fort Wilderness. Disney methodically made that a DVC property, probably because of tax breaks that they got and other positive financial realms. Because if you have a resort that is Disney Vacation Club, there's a guarantee year after year of occupancy. There is more of a guarantee. And so
somebody else is paying a portion of the maintenance.
Exactly. And so, the only thing about Animal Kingdom Lodge, it is if they did this, it would be kind of the lowest years left on a contract that they would have flipped a property. But it kind of makes sense a little bit. And I do want to just throw this out there. This is purely, I was up at 2 a.m. one night and ta-da, it hit my head, and this is probably not going to happen whatsoever. But is anyone intrigued by that idea other than me, or should I see myself out?
I am. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Amy.
No, I was just going to say, if you could, because now a majority are hotel rooms, so you would be turning them into value rooms, value studios. If you could guarantee owners that if they bought points at Animal Kingdom Villas, that they have a very high chance now of getting a value at the 7-11 month window, you're going to have a lot of interested people, because those are the rooms people want. They want to save, stretch their points for farther. And
Jeff, and I was just going to say, and this goes back to years ago. I mean, I don't know how accurate it is now. I haven't looked at prices in a minute, but when back in my travel agent days, there were times that people would want to book last minute, and there were three resorts that were always available: Caribbean Beach because it's huge, Animal Kingdom Lodge because it's far, and Grand Floridian because it's expensive. You could almost guarantee last minute bookings for those three properties. I still think Animal Kingdom Lodge, it's the cheapest of the deluxe resorts to buy cash rooms, typically, as trends go. I just wonder if they're having trouble even filling those rooms anyway, and they're looking at this going, well, we can sell it to the DVC folks. We can book these rooms in a different way and take them out of our cash inventory, push people towards the more expensive rooms anyway. I don't know. I'm intrigued by it. I think Paul's he's a pretty smart dude. I think he's onto something here.
Yeah, we're not going to put that into the public smear. I'm not that smart. But to your point, Jeff, exactly what you just said. I wish, I don't have it in front of me, but I saw on Instagram not too long ago someone post that they got an amazing annual pass deal or a Florida resident deal on an Animal Kingdom room. This also reminds me of when they used to do, what was it, like I forget, like TripAdvisor used to do these mystery deals back in the day. Where it was like you could book this resort, and the detail that people read into like the different line items of the amenities to figure out like what this resort was. But a lot of the time it was Animal Kingdom Lodge. And so what used to be this premier property, now they're happening to sell at like $300 a night, I think, or
or even in the 200s. Yeah. So and what Jeff said is totally right. The hotel room purchasing class, I don't know how to say that, but most of these are people that are like on their once in a lifetime trip or once every couple year trip, and they want to be special. if they've got the money to splurge on deluxe, most of the time they want to be near a park. So like he said, it's location. They want to be on the monorail, or they want to be, in the Crescent Lake area. If they don't have the money to splurge on a deluxe, they're probably going more moderate or value. So that group of people doesn't view Animal Kingdom Lodge the way that the DVC community views it. The DVC community views it with more adoration. You know what I mean? Like, we come to Disney a lot. We just want to relax at our resort. We want to sit on our balcony and watch the animals and eat at the dining. It's a different viewpoint from two different groups, and they would benefit by turning that into DVC because of that viewpoint.
You could almost take this even a step further than that. This takes me back to when before we were Disney Vacation Club members, we actually did a long stay, I think, at Coronado Springs.
Yes.
And we briefly entertained the idea of upgrading that stay to Animal Kingdom Lodge.
Because that was our dream,
Yeah, I mean, it's our first home resort. It'll always be our home resort. So, I mean, it was our dream stay, our dream place to go. We made the decision because we didn't think it was going to pay off financially. We didn't think that it
was another $1,000 to change to that resort for that week, and we just said it's not worth it, location wise.
And here's what I question: the question that families are asking now is, you're already making us spend that extra $1,000 on Lightning Lane, and you're already making us spend that extra $1,000 on tickets. So I don't have that money anymore, so I can't pay to stay at Animal Kingdom Lodge. I don't know that. Can
I ask you a follow-up question on that same trip?
Yeah.
Would you have paid an extra $1,000 to stay at the Poly or at the Grand?
Yes, because the value.
That's my point exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
The proximity of the parks, even though Animal Kingdom isn't that far, and I think we've had people in the group time it, minutes
it's not.
travel is not that far, but it's the perception. I feel far flung when I'm staying in Animal Kingdom Lodge. And I'm out of this group, I'm probably the hardest on Animal Kingdom. It's just not my favorite resort. It's gone up.
I heard that Derek hates it.
Yeah, I've heard that too. It's actually me that tends to hate on it more than everybody else. And it's nothing to do with anything other than it just seems so far removed from everything else. You can't jump on the monorail and go 3 different places. You can't jump on the Skyliner and go 5 different places. You have to get on a bus.
Yeah, you can't walk. Yeah.
Even my old Key West, now they brought boats back to Disney Springs. So like that's at least another option to get around.
Yeah.
So
I just find it so interesting because I really forgot that everyone always associates Disney Vacation Club with Animal Kingdom. But everybody's got to remember when Animal Kingdom first opened, and I remember because I was in Disney marketing in Chicago and they flew us down and we did like TV shoots at it. It was just a deluxe resort. There was no DVC component to it whatsoever. Disney at the time was deep selling Saratoga Springs. This was it. Because this was the time that I became a Disney Vacation Club guide, is when they switched the live inventory from Saratoga to Animal Kingdom. So Saratoga, I think when I started was $96 a point direct. Animal Kingdom was then like $104. For some reason that stuck with me. But when we were in training, that's what we were talking to people about. And then there's the new Animal Kingdom. You could see here what we're going to do. DVC is going to take over the top 2 floors of this existing building. But look at this picture on the wall. And it was, of course, a rendering of Kidani Village. And you could see it, see how big it is, and this, and this. When you own the resort, you're going to own also the top 2 floors of this building, and you also own all of this resort that they're currently building. So I think it's funny because people do forget that wasn't their intention was, hey, let's build a Animal Kingdom resort and let's make it a DVC. No, I think that's exactly what happened to them is they opened it. And I think it maybe enticed some people, scared others away, thinking if this is like you guys said perfectly, man, if this is my like maybe once in a lifetime trip, I don't want to go to a place like Animal. It sounds like far away. I want to go I want to look at Cinderella Castle, or I want to be able to walk to a park, blah, blah, blah. So they looked and said, hey, so what's going to be the best financial decision for us as a company is, you know what? What if we make this like even the top 2 floors like Disney Vacation Club? Because why? Because those people keep coming back. And they're paying their dues every single year versus that guest that only comes once and may not want to ever come back again. So now, it just goes hand in hand to me. When I think of DVC, I think of Animal Kingdom. Like, that's just it. But it hasn't always been the case.
Yeah, and the single biggest mistake that Disney made when they created that resort is not having a private entrance into Animal Kingdom.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Even just a walking path.
I don't understand why nobody sat in one of those meetings and saying, we need to move this 500 yards closer and give this. I don't know. I will never understand that decision.
Or even, could you imagine taking one of the safari jeeps into Animal Kingdom in the morning?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't. We are. So many people are angry that we keep talking about Universal, but we're just going to keep talking about Universal. I'm sorry. It is, one of the biggest things that's happened in the theme park sphere ever. I mean, it is amazing. But there's a reason that they put a hotel in the middle of the park. And there's a reason why they're charging, upwards of $1,000 a night to stay in it, because it's amazing. And the food is amazing there. And if you want to park there, what was it?
$125. But that's how they get you to not
$125.
Not for overnight gas. Excuse me. That was just if you were going and visiting, not dining, just trying to park to be there at the park.
Yeah, but there's
that's how much the Stella Nova cost for the night.
Right?
I know.
Exactly. It's crazy.
But that's how they deter the parking.
I just think too that, like, the number one thing that I always hear, and I know we all do, is when they talk about Animal Kingdom, people that have stayed there, they love it. It's the animals. It's got amazing dining. It's got multiple pools to pick and choose from. The number one gripe always is, and we touched on it, is you got to take a bus everywhere. That's it. Like, that's the number one thing that they say. Disney could, and we're probably going off on a tangent, but the biggest game changer I think that Disney could do, and DVC right now, is to somehow, and I don't know logistically how it could happen, but add a Skyliner.
Skyliner.
My God, a Skyliner at Animal Kingdom would change everything.
Yeah.
It would even have me, and I love that resort, but if it had a Skyliner that I could take to get to Animal Kingdom to make me, to nip that in the bud of the, but everything's by bus and blah, blah, blah. If you hope that there's a Skyliner shared between just the Animal Kingdom resorts, that would be a total game.
Hold on. Do you guys remember when Derek was not a Skyliner fan?
One ride changed his whole life.
Right?
See?
I want to take us out of right of first refusal a little bit and just end us off on one last thought, and that is average DVC resale prices. As Derek mentioned earlier, there are 2 blogs every month that I write for DVC Resale Market. One is average prices, so we track the average resale price of all contracts sold over the course of a month, and I come up with some commentary for it. The other is the right of first refusal blog that we've already talked about. On that average price blog, last month, more than ever, I didn't have much to say. And you'll know when I don't have much to say, because in the past I've made up songs, I've made up poems, and a variety of other things. But here's where I sit in 2025 with DVC resale prices. Over the course of the past year, it has basically been flatline. There has not been much movement in terms of pricing. I think that's going to change at some point this year, and I'm not 100% certain where or how it's going to change. Derek, advice that you would give buyers or that you would give sellers just in kind of a market that is a little bit uncertain like this one?
Yeah, I think, people think with everything in the news and everything going on that, oh my God, the bottom is falling out. And I mean, honestly, when it comes to Disney Vacation Club, sometimes the times that people think are the toughest are not. Like the time we were busier than ever during COVID, when every resort was shut down, when every single park was shut down. People were busy because people are going to come to Disney no matter what. And buying Disney Vacation Club is the most economical way to do it. And buying on the resale market is the even more economical way to do it. Right now, I tell people that unless it's, resort specific, when it comes to ROFR, you're able to find some insane deals. And I just kind of signal out one resort is Saratoga Springs. And I say this just because the prices you can get now, the prices that every day people reach out to me and contact me, one of the agents here, they're able to snag some Saratogas for under $100 a point, right? Which is literally almost less than what it was when it went on sale direct. And I tell them, most importantly, you don't, at least for the time being, have to worry about it being ROFR'd. Saratoga for a long time was one of the most popular resorts that Disney would ROFR, because it was what we typically call kind of a drop down product. So if you're learning about Disney Vacation Club Direct and they show you, hey, here's the current resort, it's, XXX per point. I don't know if I can afford that. Hey, you know what? Hold on one second. We actually have a few points available here's Saratoga Springs, right? So for a while, Saratoga was very popular on the buyback, 30%, sometimes even 40% of Saratogas. They have not back, and Paul can correct me, I think in over a year, they haven't bought back any Saratoga Springs. So that is the most exciting story for me, because when I talk to guests every single day and I learn about them and how they vacation and how far in advance they plan, if it looks like it's leaning towards, listen, I just want points for points, because we plan like 7 months out. We never plan 11 months out. It'll be 7 months, 6 months. By all accounts, buy Saratoga Springs. And right now, you've got crazy great prices. Saratoga, as the largest resort, you'll always have the most amount of listings to be able to pick from, right? So you're not going to have to, I got to find one in my use year. You're going to find it at a Saratoga Springs for any number of points, from 50 points all the way higher. It's got great dues. It goes until 2054, which is just a few years less, 3 years less than Animal Kingdom. And on top of all that, you don't have to worry about ROFR taking it. So people are walking out with deals in the 90s, even some 80s, depending on how many points that they're able to become a Disney Vacation Club member. And to tie in exactly what Jeff said too, these points, and I told someone just yesterday, I go, the best part about it, you're going to be there at the Polynesian, at the pool bar, at the Poly, sitting next to someone for your points that you bought on the resale market, staying at the Poly for like $90 a point next to the guy that just paid, $230 per point. You're both in the exact same pool. You both are staying in the exact same rooms. But yeah, so right now that's the most exciting thing for me, is because normally a lot of the time you have to say, listen, this is great prices, but you got to know Disney's probably going to buy it back. So for me, the biggest story right now that I love being able to share is get some Saratoga points. If you're looking for points, whether you're adding on points or whether you're looking to join but don't plan that far out, go Saratoga Springs.
Well, and to bring us full circle and round out the show here, speaking of big balls, if anyone has them, it is Disney right now, because 2026 packages recently dropped, and what we are seeing is higher prices than ever. Across the board, we're continuing to see them increase prices. They also increase ticketing prices. Now, they will come out with special deals that bring these prices down. And historically, what we've seen the past few years is that those prices actually come down below. Like they're basically increasing the baseline price and then increasing the incentives to make it actually lower. And it's a very weird concept, but at the end of the day, they are increasing prices. And so,
it's so they can take those incentives away when they need to.
Yep.
And then their price is where they want it to be.
Exactly.
Yep.
And I think that's the key thing, is that you're not having to worry about those prices with Disney Vacation Club. You're not having to worry about those fluctuations and the risk of that.
That Kids Eat Free program that they're offering for 2026 is in direct response to Epic Universe. I'm sorry, I will die on that hill, but that is such. We've already talked about the dining plan on this show a lot, and that is because it can translate into DVC, right? We decided that is a thing that, which usually 100%. You can't. Usually the dining plan promotions don't carry over to DVC. Right. The fact that they're offering this across the board is
for the whole
just
year.
One of their many ways, one of the levers they're going to pull to try and keep people on property.
Yep, to keep you on property.
Yeah, it's you've got that. You have the luggage service that has been rumored to. They're testing it right now at some of the all-star resorts, and I agree with you, Jeff. I think they're seeing the writing on the wall with this even more. And the fact that it's extending to Disney Vacation Club members is unheard of. And that means that there's more Disney Vacation Club members kind of saying, I'm looking elsewhere this year. And, the hotel, locking in that hotel costs, well, it's very lucrative for DVC. But you know what? If people don't go and stay in the rooms, then people don't buy tickets, and then people don't buy food, and there's just this trickle down upon trickle down effect. And that's where it's going to hurt Disney more than any, is especially if you see this group I will die on this hill, which is that Disney does not listen to the Disney Vacation Club community enough. They do not survey this community enough. Annual pass holders are one thing, but annual pass holders also just live in Florida and they're nearby the parks. But if you are a Disney Vacation Club member, you are a vested person in Disney. You have a deeded contract, and that is the biggest commitment I think you can make to basically saying, I love Disney. And if those people are questioning things, then maybe listen a little bit more, maybe survey those people a little bit more. Go ahead, Panda.
I was going to save this for the live show when we talk about Epic, but I will mention it then and here. When I was at Epic, I must have had 7 different people come up to say hi, and it's from this show. These are DVC owners that were at Epic. And if I had 7 of them come and say hi, how many didn't see me and didn't say hi? There's a lot of interest there, more than I think Disney realized.
Yeah. Well, kudos to you people that didn't that saw the title of this show and stuck it out with us, because I know that from my perspective, this was a very engaging conversation, and I loved where all of us kind of took this. We're just a great crew of people. We have fun together. But as Amy drops her earbud out and can't hear anything we say for the rest of the show, that is going to do it for us. We do want to hear your comments. What are your thoughts on what's going on with the DVC resale market, ROFR, average prices, or the direction that Disney's headed over the course of the next year with some of their prices and what they've adjusted? That'll do it for this week's episode of the DVC Show. We will see you. When, Derek?
Next Monday. Monday.